I'd like to introduce Crystal from the US, who takes LDN for MS and transverse myelitis. Thank you for joining me, Crystal.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you were diagnosed with both conditions at the same time, and when was that?
November of 2004.
And had you been experiencing symptoms leading up to that time?
I was working full time, and I started coming home from work, and I was first having, I'd come home and I'd feel tired and would have to take a nap to make it through the day, and then I started coming home and my neck and back was starting to hurt, and then one day I came home and I was completely numb from the chest down to my feet.
Mhm. What happened then? What happened then? Did the doctor diagnose you then, or?
Well, I went to my regular doctor, and he had checked just for my lower back down, and he didn't find anything. And then I figured, well, maybe it was a pinched nerve because of the job I was doing. I did a lot of lifting, so I went to a chiropractor, and he did MRIs and X-rays and tests, and he found or saw the mass entwined in my spine, which is a transverse myelitis, and told me he couldn't touch me until I found out what it was. So within the next couple of days, he got me into a neurologist, which then he did more exams, and he did more MRIs and a lumbar puncture, which came back positive for MS.
Mhm. And how did all this impact on your life?
It was a big impact in the beginning, at least for the first 8 months. Within the 8 months, because they put me on the beta-seron injections, and within 8 months of being on the injections, I went from using a walker, a wheelchair, to a power chair, and then ended up with a cellulitis infection in my right upper thigh, which they didn't catch in time, so it got really bad and ended up spending 3 months in bed because of it.
Wow. So what happened then?
Then, I was treating that at home, staying in bed for 3 months, and then I stopped the injections because the infection was caused by the injections, and I started researching online and kept coming across LDN and researched it and followed some people that were taking it for MS, and after about a month or two of researching it, I went to my neurologist about it and told him all the ins and outs and gave him printed information, and he told me that he would look into it for a couple of days and get back to me. And when a doctor tells you that, you don't expect to hear anything back from him. But him being a top neurologist in Florida, I had 2 days later, he called me back. He said, "Looks good, no bad side effects. Let's give it a try." So he called in a prescription for me, and within a month, 2 months of taking it, I was walking back on my own and took away, most all of my symptoms then, and I was getting back to a somewhat normal life.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mhm.
And what did your latest MRI scans show?
My latest MRI shows that the only thing that they said everything came back great. The only thing that they noticed was the bulging disc in my neck, which was caused from an accident I had years ago. And even on the transverse myelitis, it showed that the mass was not even there anymore.
Wow. Amazing. So what are your plans now then, Crystal?
Now, just moving on with my life and getting, Well, I'm a whole lot better than what I was. I'm being on the LDN for the last 8 years. It's pretty much stopped or slowed my progression, and I don't have any symptoms unless I overdo it, which is very rarely, and or in extreme heat or whatever. But other than that, everything to look at me, you wouldn't think that I had anything.
Hmm. And would you like to tell us about the groups that you have helping other people obtain LDN?
Well, I have several. I have my website, Crystal's MSPM and LDN website, and I also have a Yahoo support group called LDN Users, and then I also help moderate a few of them on Facebook for people, and I also keep the LDN doctors list for people looking for doctors in their state, country, all over the world.
Mhm.
And anybody that wants or is looking for a doctor, they can email me at angelindisguiseldn@yahoo.com. Let me know where they live, and I can send them more information about LDN and the doctor's list where they live.
Thank you very much, Crystal, and for all that you do to help other people.